Okay, so the second one today for my GMing preferences and how things tend to go at my table. This one's fun because it's actually where like the rule of cool kind of comes into play, which is if the dice don't agree with the story wins. And um, this one you have to be a little bit careful on because you might have this grand idea, especially if you're running a homebrew of like how the story should run. And remember, that's not how tabletop RPGs are supposed to be played. It's actually a collaborative storytelling effort that we all meet at the same table and create a narrative that is arbitrated by rules and the GM, yes, but ultimately should be decided by the players how the story plays out. If you're sitting there and you're like, man, I've got this one DC that they need to hit. I didn't make it very hard, but now no one's hit it. Deus Ex that shit. Like, give them something that still allows them to progress the story, or have a backup plan for if they can't figure it out, and just you know let them stumble through some other stuff, and always have a plan for that if that's how you're going to run it. Of, well, you failed because the dice said so, here's where the story goes instead. But it's also fine to just be like, yeah, I'm not going to set a DC for it. I'm just going to like see how people roll and maybe give it to the person who rolls the highest, or see how people roll, and if they roll absolutely terribly, you don't remember this detail, but you have met someone who might. They might know everything you need to know about it, and send them off on the side quest to go and get some information from them. Hell, you could even turn that into a full blown session of just like, yeah, I do happen to know the information, but it's gonna cost you. Go do this thing for me. Go find someone. Go do an errand for me. Go save some people. Go, prove that you deserve this information because this information is sensitive, or this information is dangerous, or this information is just valuable because I am the only one in the area who actually happens to have that information. So make it worth my while. And if especially if you're just flying by the seat of your pants on that one, like, I don't think your players are going to notice. Honestly, I don't think people really notice, as long as the story is interesting and it feels like it's actually what someone would do, and you're not just punishing them for not having like the best dice rolls, or the stats that make up for dice rolls, where even if they roll a one. And that is something I will talk about. Maybe it'll be a separate thing because I don't think it's actually in this. I'm going to talk about how I handled natural ones and natural 20s because I see a lot of opinions about how people run it. Remember the last video, official opinions. And I disagree with how people handle them because that will also really fuck with the story if you just say, yeah, natural 20 automatically succeeds on anything that you're trying to do. So, it's also allowable for them to, no matter how good they roll, to not be able to succeed if it adds to the drama, if it isn't robbing them of something, if it is intended to be a plot device in which it spurs them to go and do other things that would actually be wonderful story points. I don't necessarily like the idea of guaranteed failures or stuff like that. I only like the idea of like the party will succeed. It's just a matter of how, and yeah, if you have this crazy puzzle that you want them to figure out and they happen to blow through it because you made it a DC dependent thing, or they happen to see this solution right then and there, don't change it just because you want to have your crazy hard solution or your crazy dice roll sequence. Like, let them have it. It's story at that point. This thing, you can let them know, like, hey, that was intended to be way more difficult than you actually made it. Like, I'm impressed, or you got really lucky there, because that will actually make it more memorable for them. Like, players don't care if they managed to make something that was supposed to be hard easy. All they care about is if you took something that was supposed to be a challenge or could have been more of an experience for them, and you robbed them of that. So remember, if the dice and the story don't agree, the story always wins.